You have heard what people out there are saying. Of course, people are really waiting to see who will become the flag bearer of the NPP. KMJ.
All right. So,
it's hot in here, I must say.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah.
Because this is, I don't want to use the usual make or break thing, you know, but I mean, if you're looking at the political space right now, what this means is that the NPP stand the chance of either making, you know, corrections based on what we have seen over the period, or they actually decide that the party where it's going to, nobody can do anything about it. And you see, the thing is, for me, all these gentlemen over here, if you look at them, have played a very important role in the party, from occupying the office to contributions to the party as a whole, you know, and every other impact they have made over the period. And so it's a big deal. And I was having a conversation with Kofi a couple of minutes ago, and we were talking about how this is going to shape, you know, the party moving forward, as to who, you know, ever that comes up tops. Because you have a responsibility of ensuring that the party is able to stick together, and also making sure that you look at 2028 and what you can do for the party. Because you need to bring the numbers.
You need to bring the numbers, especially the floating voters. Please take over.
So earlier, we also spoke about the fact that we're looking at prophecy and, you know, science. And so the predictions have come through. We're going to be looking at some of what the polls are also saying and all that. So I've got Ezekiel Nate. He's going to join us on Zoom. I've come up, all the polls that have come up. Okay, let me see. All right, good. We have him over here. Hello, good morning. How are you? Okay, can you unmute your microphone for me? Hello, if you can hear me, unmute your microphone. Look around the screen somewhere. You can unmute the microphone for us.
Yeah, hello.
All right, so thank you so much for joining us this morning here on the show. We've got a couple of days for the big day on Saturday, where eventually we'll get to find out who leads the NPP moving into the elections 2028. Has anything changed based on what with the records that we've seen, you know, the polls that we've seen come up within the last few months?
Yeah, well, if you look at the polls that have been coming, it's been consistently in favor of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Yeah. The only problem we see here is that his support base keeps on dwindling. Yeah, because some of them are moving either for Dr. Bernard Champon or for any of the other contestants. But it looks certain that he's a front runner. Yeah, he's a front runner.
So in terms of margin, what margins are we looking at?
Well, I see him running between 50 to 60%, yeah, of the delegates that would be casting their vote. And certainly, if you go beyond 50, you are winning. Yeah.
So let's talk about in terms of decision making. Now, we've also seen the undecided and what impact it can also make moving into you know, the closing of the this week. Are they going to make a difference, or the undecided will not make any difference based on where we are now?
The undecided could actually make a difference. It started with about 38%. Now it's hovering around 19%. Yeah. So if this 19% could all go in favor of one person, which obviously, if it is not for Dr. Bawumia, it means that his percentage is going to drop. And once he does that, it could throw the thing into a second round.
In terms of his, and I'm talking about Dr. Bawumia, his numbers going up. Well, you also mentioned that it's been dwindling. But in terms of the position he occupies right now, is the earlier position you occupied in the NPP as the flag bearer, candidates and vice president, making any difference in terms of the number that is going up? Is that what is helping him?
Yeah, when you look at the strengths, Dr. Bawumia has a very strong delegate base.
Okay.
Yeah. And when you look at his closest contender, who is Mr. Kennedy
and Bawumia.
Yeah. He seems to have a grassroots support base. Yeah, because when you talk to people outside, they want a change, they want somebody like Kennedy and Bawumia. But when you talk to people who are actually going to cast their vote, it looks like they want Dr. Bawumia. Yeah.
But why is that?
And Dr. Bryan is also is making his way in there, because gradually is from the 2-3% into about 12%, which is very phenomenal. Very phenomenal. So I see that thing as a 2-horse race, but Dr. Bryan is also emerging. He has an emerging support.
Doctor, if you look at the Kennedy Japan comparison that you made in terms of the grassroots and the delegates, why is he not able to reconcile the grassroots, if indeed they believe that is the person they're looking for? Why is he not able to reconcile that with the delegates?
Well, it's difficult to tell. It's difficult to tell. I really don't have the answers. Those who are going to vote are the people. In fact, when you do a bit of SWOT analysis, you could say that because Kennedy and Bawumia is somebody who comes out, he talks, he says things the way he sees it and stuff like that. People are a bit cagey in terms of showing their support for him. And that is just the problem I have seen. But he looks also solid on the ground. He looks solid on the ground also.
Okay, let's look at the other contenders, the percentage that you're making. Before we get to the elections, will they also be able to make a difference for those who are already ahead?
We have about 6 days more to go, right?
Yeah. We have less than that, actually. It's just Saturday, so we have less than that. We're looking about 3 days maximum.
4 days.
Yeah.
Today is Wednesday, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So about 3 days more. Also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, people could make their changes, but those that have made their mind outweigh those who are yet to make their minds, and I don't foresee them making any headway. Yeah, because consistently throughout the polls, the three of them haven't done so well. Dr. Bryan, Dr. Educhum, and Mr. Japan haven't done so well in terms of moving the people who would vote for them. But they are very fine gentlemen with nice brains. Yeah. If you look at Kennedy Japan, he has a lot of party experience. Yeah. He's been general secretary for some time. If it hadn't been for the fact that he was suspended, he was one of the finest brains they could have. And when you listen to him talk, you will see that he has great policies, great initiative. Same as Dr. Educhum in terms of education. But they are not penetrating. Yeah.
Yeah, and so their numbers that they have right now will not be able to make anybody's numbers, in terms of either people wants to switch or make a decision of moving from those people at the last hour. It will not change anything.
I doubt if it could do. Yeah. It wouldn't make a difference. Yeah, because when you look at Dr. Bawumia and Kennedy and Bawumia, they are way, way ahead of all the others. Dr. Brandon Champon is trying to cut down their lead. So he's emerging.
So he's more like a third force now. Yet. He's more like a third force now.
Yeah,
he hasn't got into that point yet.
Third force.
Okay, so you can qualify him as a third force.
Yeah, it looks like a third force in this race.
Okay, I like that. It says it looks like a third force. Anyway, I'll come back to you a bit later, but please hold on for me. I've also been joined in studio by one of the people that has also championed this cause for the very long time, and he's been very, very straightforward with whatever he believes that, the polls that he brings out will be able to do in terms of our elections here in the country. Mr. Mussa Dankwa, thank you so much, Doc, for joining us this morning. I hope you're good.
My pleasure. I'm doing very well. Thank you.
Great. From your side, we still have the same records that we've seen for the last how many months now, or things are changing?
For Bawumia, largely he has maintained that leadership position in the race. We've seen a rapid change in the numbers between Kennedy and Bryan from last Tuesday. Last Tuesday. We don't know where the bottom will settle between Kennedy and Bryan till Saturday.
Is that close?
No, it's not close. What we are seeing now is that Bryan is rather taking numbers from Kennedy. And that is creating a gap between Kennedy and Bawumia, wider.
Why is that happening? The delegates are changing their minds?
Look, first and foremost, we must look at the demography of where these guys are competing from. They are competing in the Akan regions.
Okay.
They are all Akans. If you're eating from one bowl, you will share.
Yeah.
Simple logic. Secondly, what we've seen is that in the recent days after Kennedy attacked Bawumia in the video, I think some of the people who were probably doubting Ken rather had their belief reinforced.
Okay.
And they don't see Bawumia as an alternative. They were going to Bryan Champon.
So, as it stands right now, Dr. Bawumia is in that spot, in that lead.
Yes.
It follows by Honorable Kennedy.
Yes.
And then you have Bryan also following. I was asking Mr. Norty the same question that I'm going to even ask you. Those who are the bottom three, let me put them that way. He says they seem to be a third force. In terms of their numbers, is this significant enough to make any switch?
For the bottom fifth and fourth, they won't make any impact in this race, from what we have seen in the data.
Okay.
But Bryan is what is making the difference. Unfortunately, for the race to go into a runoff, Bryan or Ken should be drawing numbers from Bawumia.
Wow.
To drag Bawumia down. We have not seen that. When people leave Bawumia, they go to not disclose. They don't go to these candidates. Yes, they don't go to these candidates. But we've seen a movement between Kennedy's numbers and Bryan. So instead of maybe Bryan picking numbers from Bawumia to drag both down and then probably put the race into runoff, Bawumia is more steady, whereas Ken and Bryan are trading votes.
In terms of our history, based on the primaries that we've seen so far over the period, would you say this is the most tightest that you've seen in a long time?
Look, let's go back to basics.
Yeah.
Bawumia is 48% on the headline poll. 48.
Yeah.
Minus Ken, 25. What do you get?
You're moving around 23%
gap. In the last election, between Bawumia and Ken and the rest, Bawumia got 61%, right? And Ken got, 37%. The gap was what? 24%.
Yeah. So yes, it looks we're repeating.
But on the face of it, you might think, yeah. But when you dig down to the data, the margin remains the same, with the potential of going up because of Bryan. Because if Ken is unable to match his 2023 numbers, Bawumia will come down. Certainly, he's not going to lose 61%. But who will the decline affect most? If you take the number from Kennedy, the gap between Kennedy and Bawumia widens.
But that's more like you looking at a miracle, because you've got 3 days to be able to achieve that. How rapid would these people be able to change their minds?
Just around 10% said they may change their mind. Out of the delegates we interviewed, only 10% are saying they may. They didn't say they will. So if they say they may, and you maintain your campaign in discipline, nothing will change. Now, if you don't maintain that discipline and you mess up, those 10% will switch away from you.
Okay. Now, this is NPP 2026 presidential primaries final poll and predictions. It's put together by Global Info Analytics. Of course, I've got the very revered Mussa Dankwa here with me as well. And it's been updated. The last time that was updated was 27th of this month, 2026, right? Great. So can you walk us through...
Right. We look at the methodology.
Yeah.
We sampled 10,000 delegates over the telephone.
Okay.
Across all the 16 regions, from 272 out of 276.
Yeah.
Randomly. It means we don't know who we are calling. The computer will pick a number randomly and you speak to that person. And that numbers that we call is proportional to the size of the region in terms of voting.
Okay.
Now, our confidence level has been increased from usual 99% to 99.9 this time around.
That's almost 100% there.
That's 0.1. And the margin of error for the headline poll is 1.57%.
Okay.
But the margin of error for the prediction that we have given is about plus or minus 3%. And we use computer-assisted telephone interview, and we interviewed them between 29th December and 23rd January. All we're doing is that every week we're interviewing 2,500 delegates.
Okay.
And every day at least 500. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We don't mix the days because sometimes if you skip and go to weekends, the numbers tend to differ. So we want to maintain the same.
Yeah.
So that's how we did it.
So what this means is what?
It means that if we say Bawumia is on 48% on the headline poll, it means the outcome in terms of, if you want to do some mathematics, could be 48 plus 1 plus 57. Okay. Or 48 minus 1 plus 57. So it's a range of outcome because when you do polling, you're not precise. You can't be precise. You give an outcome that's within a certain range. And the margin of error is what gives you that range. So if you take the predictions, we are saying Bawumia is going to be on 57%. It doesn't mean that he will be bang on 57. It means on the day, he could be 57 plus 3, which could be 60.
Yeah.
It means he does extremely well than we thought he was going to do. Or he could do 57 minus 3, 54. So we expect him to be 54 up to 60. That's the range.
Okay.
And for Kennedy, it's the same approach. 28 on the headline polls, you add 3% or take away 3%. Okay. And Bryan, you add 3, take away 3. So that is how polling works.
All right. So the next one will be what?
How the samples were allocated. So Ashanti region, Greater Accra get most, Ashanti region next, Eastern follow. This is the same way as delegates are spread across the country. If you mix this up, you're going to kind of throw the results a bit out of whack.
Okay. All right. Good. So
here you see the percentages of these numbers. So we're not going to go over it.
All right.
Now, who did we sample? We give you details. 19% of the delegates we spoke to were women, and 81 were men.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a men's
dominated space. Okay.
That's how it is there.
Okay. And the next one over here.
Age profile. I want people to pay attention to this age profile. It makes sense of what is happening in the race. 0% or nearly 0%, 18 to 24. So there are no young people in the delegates.
That's...
Who will come there?
Yeah, I'm curious about that. How did we get here?
No, because the delegate must be... They are normally... And they have not managed to get younger people into the outfit.
That should be a problem.
That should be a problem. Now, those who are 25 to 34, only 12%. So actually, about 88% of MPP delegates are above 35 years. That is a problem of Kennedy.
I mean...
He is much popular among the youth, we were told.
Yeah.
And the youth are less represented here.
How do you make up for that?
When you open up nomination or the party election,
yeah,
you must be transparent. You must encourage young people to participate, because look, we are building a party for the future. These guys are during retirement age. They must be replaced by younger people.
And that's what we're not been able to do with regards to
the moment they agreed to go on election with this album. That was it.
Very interesting. This is so interesting.
This is the source of his problem.
Wow. Does it affect anything? It
does, because look, when you are older person, you are much more conservative. Yeah. You want things to be steady. You don't want radical changes because you don't have much left in your life to live.
Yeah.
So you don't take risk. If you're a younger person, you can, let's try Kennedy. If it doesn't work, we'll try another person. But young people are not there. And the old guys, they don't want to take risk. And MPP is a conservative party. Almost slowly, steady, and quiet, and that's how they go.
Yeah.
The moment you bring shit up there, that's not the style of the people who are there.
Because the election does not end with the primaries.
No.
Remember that you're moving into a bigger space where the youth play a very important role.
That's where MPP will be disadvantaged again because of who selects the presidential candidate, and when they bring that person to the whole country.
And if that person is not able to appeal
now,
to the...
what you see is that about 78% of Ghanaian voters are below 44. And we have shown that 88% of MPP delegates are above 35. So the country is here.
They also will be somewhere else. Anyway, let's see. Religion played a role.
No, let's go back to the one before.
Okay, the previous.
Education.
Yeah.
Junior high, the highest qualification, 43% MPP delegates.
Wow.
11% have no qualification at all. So if you add 11 to 43, 54% of MPP delegates, the highest qualification is GSS or no education.
How come?
It's the delegate they have.
It's the delegate they have. So anyway,
and remember, people's needs are different.
Yeah.
So if you want to give jobs to people, what kind of jobs in government can you give people with junior high qualification?
With that, yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, the educational gap is serious.
So you cannot really help them in the way that you would have wanted to.
So you just may end up making everybody become like a grassroots, ordinary person kind of.
And usually, these people, they look for jobs for their wards, for their guardians, for their family members. Because they themselves know.
Yeah, they can't qualify for any of that.
So when you go to campaign, you must understand this data. It is not them you should promise job. It is their wards, because they themselves don't qualify. That is the data science.
That is the data science. Let me pause here and then ask the representations on the other side where Roslyn is, if they have any question. I don't know if this is shocking to them in any way, but Kwashi, let me start off with you.
Yeah.
Are you surprised you're reading all of these?
First of all, we're not surprised. I've stated here confidently that Bawumia is poised for victory. It's very clear. What he's doing is essentially echoing what's happening on the ground. So we are very sure in our mind that Bawumia is winning. It's not very different. Now, to address something that he said, that majority of the delegates are older and so don't want to take a risk. I see that they are older and wiser enough to actually weigh everybody very well and know who to vote for. It's not a matter of, just emotional stuff and that's it. No, you weigh the person very well, weigh the quality they bring on board, and then you decide. And so to say that, you don't want to take a risk, no, it's not about that. It's about who can actually...
But he stated the reason why these people may not help you at the end of the day, because these are people who are leaving the system.
How they leave the system?
They're aging. I mean, eventually you would want to make sure that fresh people come in.
Yeah, but if
how do you deal with that?
If you live in the system, if you see the figures, I think about 65, very small number. So you have quite a chance between, say, 35 and, say, what, 40-something.
Yeah.
Exactly. How are they living? How are they living? You understand me? They are still in the system. In fact, the youth age for a party is 40 years. So when someone around 45, 42, he's still very active in the party. You understand me?
Yeah.
And these are still people who can attract numbers. Okay? And let's not get it twisted. Parties go through phases. After this thing is over, definitely there's going to be a strategy to make sure the party becomes very attractable to all ages of people. You understand me?
Okay.
And so the issue that, the thing that, because you're older, you don't want to take a risk. It's not about risk.
Okay.
It's about measuring people. that would represent.
Yeah, you're becoming a third force now. Mr. Norty says so. I'm sure some of will also agree with that. Dr. Bryan.
He's in a pole position to win this election. I disagree with this assertion that he's a third force or not. He's in a pole position. And I've contested Mussa's data on our sister station that when he put his own headlines together, 28, 48, 26, 21, 6, and I want to put it was more than 100%. So I've contested it earlier on. So for me, I don't see the credibility in it. But there's something that stands.
Oh, the entire process?
Yeah, when you put a work to a peer review, and your headlines are over 100%, I don't know where in the world that will be qualified. He's an academic person. He knows it. And to put all that he's done together, 48, 28, 20, 26, 21, 6, 1, 1, when put them together, he knows it. I've contested it live on I don't want to mention it. He knows it. So for me, I don't want to...
you see your candidate doing better than what has been put out there?
Absolutely.
With all the other polls that we've seen so far?
For me, one thing that stands out, and it's good. For me, I work with data, I like analysis. We are going to go into election. Older people are going to decide the future of the younger people. If you take the last election, 2024, almost 68% that voted and passed a verdict were youthful people. We are going to go into a future election that is estimated that almost 70% plus are going to be the younger generation who are going to decide. You, as a political party, would want to put a candidate out there who would attract these people to your fold. It will shock you to know that the New Patriotic Party lost on all tertiary campuses, University of Ghana, KNUST, Cape Coast, everywhere. It means that the youthful people are not gravitating towards the New Patriotic Party. And if you're a political party, you would want to put in measures that would ensure that there's a succession plan, there's a way to attract these people onto your fold. And we believe that. Looking at Dr. Bryan Champon's caliber as a person, and the youth people, when you ask them, my brother here will talk about the fourth industrial revolution. He lives in it. He's a pioneer in information analysis. He has a PhD in it. He's built a business, one of the biggest in Africa. So we think that this is a person we would want to put out there to spearhead the revolution of the New Patriot, the rebranding of the New Patriot Party, to rebuild it from the base so that at least you will take political advantage out of it. You wouldn't want to put a candidate the youthful people has earlier passed a verdict on. What verdict did not suit you well?
Okay, all right. Let me. I see you were smiling over there, but I don't know why. What's your take on that?
For me, like I always put it, it's good. I would never run anybody's polls down. It's good to do that. I believe it only but informs me, educates me, and makes me settle. And that is what some of these researchers have come out to do for me as a political student. But then I think the main verdict will be on the 31st of January, come Saturday, where Kennedy and Bawumia is going to emerge victorious. Listen, we are talking about 210,000 delegates out here. The research Mussa puts out there says that I spoke to about 10,000 people. And then, yes, research analysis, yes, is
you can't have the entire...
You can't have
the sample size, you always going to be working
size, whether your methodology determines what sample size
you're always going to be working with.
Whatever that you want to do with this. Okay? So I believe in some of these research outputs and all that. But believe you me, in elections, if you've never run an election before, you've never been there before, you would believe in some of these things. I have been there before, and I know how it is. Sometimes people will even tell you, oh, Yomo, you've already won. By the time they go to the polls and cast their ballot, they're voting for somebody else.
And you believe in that?
Yes.
That there could be a decision switching of the...
Even in the polling booth, where he goes to cast his vote, his mind may change. And then that is what you have to understand. There's something going on in other areas that will inure to the benefit of my candidate. And so he says plus or minus 3, blah, blah, blah. It will not be what will happen. And then I will meet him after Saturday and I'll tell him that Kennedy and Bawumia won and he was going to win.
Okay, all right. I'll come back to Musa to find out if he agrees with some of the things that you've said. Let me have your take. I'm going to speak to someone else on Zoom as well. Let me have your take.
I from where I want to start off with, I have some issues with Mussa Dankwa, especially with a statement that is attributed to him. I would take serious exception to that. That statement is very distasteful. He says that he don't believe Dr. Edichum has the financial capacity or the nationwide presence to be taken seriously in this NPP's primaries. What has your research got to do with the financial capacity of Dr. Edichum? And we do understand some of these activities, be it a prophecy or this research, just goes out there to work on the psyche of the electorate. And it is part of what others are scheming up to have their names there.
There's no merit?
From what you can go about to do your own work, but tangentials within that fold which do not warrant as part of whatever discussion with regard to the data that you put out there, you stay away from that. You don't run people down, especially when you know they are going into a contest. And I'm demanding for an apology from that. Somebody who is able to raise 20 million on Wall Street within 20 minutes, 3 times, and you say that doesn't have the financial capacity to be taken serious. What has that got to do with your post? And I think he must stay focused on discussing what his numbers tells. But the outside elements which do not form part of what he's trying to put out, he should stay away from that. That do not inure to the benefit of our political party or anybody. You can't run people down like that. We've tolerated some of these issues for quite too long. And this time, and I'm happy he's here, this is what has been attributed to him on Star. Something that he's probably, whether he said it or not, this is what has been attributed to him.
Clarify that.
Yes.
Beyond that,
beyond that, there is nothing there. That is why on the 31st, you have the opportunity to speak to the real post. And we, within our own internal system, do have the means to assess the chances of our candidates. And if we don't believe in what our internal post tells us, we wouldn't have been part
of it in the first place. Okay.
Right? Yeah. So whatever the numbers are, that's his work. He's entitled to whatever he wants to do with his work. But please, he should stay away from adding up what is not part of what he's done into this very discussion. That's why I demand that he renders apology to Dr. Edichum on this particular subject.
Okay, but I'm going to have him answer to that.
Just are part of the schemes to work on the psyche of the people.
Okay.
I can assure you, Dr. Edichum will emerge victorious on 31st. I can assure you that.
Okay, I'll come back to you again, but let me go to Ashanti region. Eugene is over there. He's a researcher with Love FM, and we want to find out how the Ashanti region is looking like in terms of the 2 candidates that are coming from there. Eugene, good morning. I'm grateful for your time.
Yes, it's good to be there.
Great. So far, we've got 2 candidates that are emerging from the Ashanti region. Unfortunately, based on the polls that we've seen, it seems to be they, lacking behind. In terms of what is happening there in the region, what contributes to this?
I mean, when it comes to the Ashanti region, when it comes to the election, they have the biggest base of delegates, and these are the people going to decide the elections on the 2020 across the country. They actually have about 3 of them, because if you take Kennedy and Bawumia, my good friend Dr. Ivan won the election, Mussa Dankwa is holding second in the race. He also took ancestry to the Ashanti region. You know that there's a very interesting traditional connection between the people of Ashanti and the Ashanti region. The ancestry to the Ashanti area. So Kennedy also has roots in the Ashanti. The head brother, if you recall, contested on our member of parliament for Antigua in the last election, and Kennedy was here with the street to the region. He's quite good. When we talk about President Japon, he is a son of Justice J. Japon, who was part of, unfortunately, the matters when you killed. He is also a royal from in the Ashanti region. People have some confidence in him. He's been in the region for some days. He's granted certain interviews. Most of the interviews that is taken privately was done in the Ashanti region. The first spoke to ask for leadership, not get interest of. So he's also put some strength in the region. He was born here. Ashanti region in Kumasi. He's 2 years. In Kennedy West, where he had a bachelor in civil engineering, and you know that. Yeah, so there seems to be some confidence in the people of Ashanti that at least one of them have some favorable in the January. So when you think about Dr. being a member of Parliament from 20, he started the project, I think, 5 years ago in 2021. If you recall, was on the banks with the students when they journeyed to the University of Mines and Technology in Tapa. He started this project of training some 100 engineers in 10 years. And the first was at 30 years on the banks from the to human. There are some doctors, medical students in the due to his benevolence, the YouTube was for the foundation. The STEM school there, there's also the all-girls STEM school there, and also, like I say, senior high school. So when it comes to education, it was actually about education. And we all know that he was a deputy education, became the substantive education minister. So it seems that most of the things being talked about literature, education, STEM education, and the many people from the area, about hundreds of them who is benefited with benevolence, especially when it comes to their education.
Okay, before I let you go, in terms of the polls that we've seen come out and the people who you interact with on the daily, I mean, based on what you also do over there, you think they're very indifferent about the polls and its results, or it is something that they all believe that, well, if the polls are saying it, that is basically what is going to happen at the end of the day?
Well, when it comes to the polls, it's like what's coming in 2024. And most people are saying that the polls, the prophets, and the people on the real poll will be on the 31st of January 2026. For me, my background is intelligence and the time. You know, meteorology, we predict whether it will rain or not. And mostly, it's based on certain climatological factors. The polls are based on certain indicators. And I believe that, and most people in the Southern region have that belief that when we see that the poll will certainly speak. And you know that science is never true. The polls only give a glimpse of what it is. When those conditions that the polls to make the predictions are available. So people are. But I think that in the Ashanti region, it just mostly the polls are taking it's divided. We speak to the traders today, they say that Kennedy is winning. We speak to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia today, they say Mahmoud Bawumia is traders today, tomorrow they say Bawumia is winning. It seems to me that a Muslim feels as and when the candidates come to the region. So, for example, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is in the Ashanti region, the individual kind of build that momentum among people that is winning. The Kennedy is in the region, the employer also builds for sales towards them. But the people in the region, you also see that. So, it will be interesting what will happen by the 23rd January. Largely, that's what the people in the Ashanti region believe will happen the 31st of January.
Very well. Thank you very much, Eugene, for joining us this morning. I'm grateful for your time. Now, let me move on to another person, Evans Dua. He's also been putting some polls out there. Sometime last week, he joined us here on the show, and he also told us what exactly to expect. In fact, they all seem to have Dr. Bawumia leading the race. If you can hear me, Evans, good morning. Hello, can you hear me, Evans? Okay, I'm going to try and get Evans back, and then we'll see what we can do. But these are the people that you're seeing over here. You have Kennedy Japan. Yeah.
Intriguing, I must say, because getting to know that at a point, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and Kennedy is quite close with regards to what Mussa Dankwa is telling us. Was quite close. Then all of a sudden we are hearing, oh no, it's not like that, but it looks like another candidate is taking over and all of that. There's a third force, and then another candidate who doesn't even play a role in there at all. We are not really seeing the force coming in. It's interesting. I don't know what's going to happen on that day. Let's not even take a look at what the prophets are saying, but what the numbers are saying on the ground. But then we have over 210,000 candidates, 211,000 delegates who are going to be voting. And looking at that, anything can happen. Anything can happen on that.
Yeah, and every step of the way, everything plays a very important role.
Exactly.
You understand? And I think that is what most of the people are not also looking at it, because if you look at all the polls, let's even put these polls aside. I mean, at the end of the day, people still have their choices.
Yeah.
Whatever this one tells them is going to work on that. they have their choices and they have the decision to make. And if they get there and they decide, like what she said, if they decide that I'm in the boot right now, I want to change my mind right now, they can still go ahead and change their minds.
I like that.
So every step of the way, every single thing counts.
Can happen. And I like the fact that anytime Kofi comes in, his numbers are different. I don't know what he has for us today.
Well, let's see what the Joy News desk has. Kofi, where are we headed?
Well, so what we've done is very simple. In the US, there's something they do that fortunately for us we can do it now because of the great work Global Info Analytics and other posters are doing. Now we have data and we can compare different posts and see what the outlook is looking like. So what we did is not to go on the grounds to talk to people, but rather we sampled 8 posts, right? From all the available posts that we can actually test their methodology, look at their sample size, and see their margin of errors. That's what we did, at Joy News Research. And if you go to the next slide, that will tell you the number of posts we looked at. 8 of the posts we've looked at, 3 from Global Info Analytics, because definitely, in terms of being regular and being very recent, Global Info Analytics is number 1 in terms of polling in the country. Let's go to the first one, the first slide. The second slide. That will tell you how we sampled 3 of the posts from Global Info Analytics, 3 from Sanity Africa, 1 poll from Africa Policy Lens. Then you have Dr. Evans Dia, who is currently the only individual who has come out with a poll, and we also sampled that poll as well. So what we did was that we computed what we call the aggregator. So we looked at all the 8 polls, and we tried to use averaging models to see where how that is looking like. And so if you do that, in total, the 8 polls we looked at, their combined sample size, interestingly, is about 140,000 for the 8. And that is more than half of the total number of registered delegates who are going to vote on Saturday. So we feel that this number is big, although there's high probability that maybe one delegate may have been spoken to more than once by any of the posters. But in terms of the breakdown, in terms of the 8 we sampled, this is what the number is saying. This is the outlook in terms of what the averager is telling us. So the averager, averaging all the score, what we have actually, the results from the 8 polls we sampled, puts Bawumia first, not more than 50%, but currently around 45.86%. And Kennedy Japan is following suit with 37.9%. Dr. Bryan the champion, 5.6%. And Dr. Yao said it's around 2%. You have Kennedy Japan around 1%. And for us, this number is very important. I'll tell you a story about that later. 8% of the delegates currently still remain undecided based on the polls that we have actually sampled. 8% of the delegates, we know that's more than about 16,000 delegates that we are talking about. In terms of the 8 polls we looked at, it was a split, right? 4 of the polls predicting a win for Dr. Bawumia, 4 also predicting a win for, Kennedy Japan. And we look at the outliers and how that is looking like, right? So in terms of those who predicted a win for Dr. Bawumia, I will say that Global Info Analytics, all their 3 recent polls we've looked at, or putting Bawumia ahead of Kennedy Japan in terms of what the poll is saying, not maybe what Global Info Analytics is saying. It's the poll that is actually, yielding out that number. And you have, Africa Policy Lens also predicting a win for Dr. Bawumia. For Kennedy Japan, we saw Sanity Africa, all their 3 polls we sampled, pointing to the fact that they believe that Kennedy Japan is in pole position to win. And Dr. Evans Dia, who is the sole individual in this poll that we looked at, also predicting a win for Kennedy Japan. So it's 4 wins for Bawumia and 4 wins for Kennedy Japan. But in terms of outlier analysis, because when you're doing averages, it's always good to look at outliers. They will tell you a different story. So if you look at the 2 leading candidates, right? We start with Dr. Bawumia. The averager or the aggregator poll is telling us that his average is around 45.86%. But in terms of Global Info Analytics last poll, they are putting him around 48% plus or minus, I think about 1.97 or I think 3%. That is the margin of error, about 3%. But if you compare this to the averager, you can see that it is very, very close. The difference between the averager and the margin of error, very, very close, right? 2 percentage points. Close to the margin of error being put out by Global Info Analytics. That is where the averager is putting Dr. Bawumia, where Global Info Analytics poll is expecting him to be. Sanity Africa, on the other hand, if you compare the averager to Sanity Africa, they are projecting 40%, which is some 6 percentage points below where, the averager is putting Dr. Bawumia. Africa Policy Lens.
They are doing
straightforward. You see that this is an outlier, right? Not in a bad way, but in terms of averaging, right? This is the only poll that is putting a candidate about 50%. They are predicting 63.8% for Dr. Bawumia, and you can see that the difference between the averager and Africa Policy Lens is about 20 percentage point, very, very high, right? And Dr. Evans GS poll is putting 36. Dr. Bawumia at 36%. Also, sort of an outlier because it's below the average's 46%. If you want to, approximate it, right? Let's look at Kennedy Japan, right? The averager is putting him around 37.9%, right? And Global Info Analytics, there are 3 recent polls that we've looked at. Their latest poll, 25%. And you can see that there's a difference, right, between where, the averager is putting him, possibly maybe influenced by outliers, and where Global Info Analytics expects him to be. Sanity Africa, on the other hand, in this case, we saw an outlier in Africa Policy Lens for Bawumia, another outlier for
52.
For Kennedy Japan, right? So you see where the averager expects Kennedy Japan to be and where Africa Policy Lens expects him to be. And in all the outliers, we see about 20 percentage point difference, right? And Africa Policy Lens itself is also predicted 28.9% for Kennedy Japan, way below where the averager expects him to be. And Dr. Evans Dia is predicting a win for,
the 47%.
47% for Kennedy Japan, which is also a bit different, about 10 percentage points or about 9 percentage points between that and the averager. So in terms of the 8 polls that we've looked at, comparatively, that is what the data is telling us. But a big number that we have to talk about is the 8%.
The undecided.
The undecided. Because, in fact, I was listening to Mussa Dankwa when he was explaining that if you are doing more or less like a stochastic process, trying to see how people move between states, it is currently between Kennedy Japan and Bryan a champion, where Dr. Bawumia seemed to be holding a very fixed state. But in terms of the movement, right, it is between Kennedy Japan. That's according to Global Info Analytics data. We've not gone to the grounds to actually interview people, but in fact, we can actually speak to the scientific data that they've put out. But let's look at how the picture looked like in 2023.
That's the final results.
Exactly, 2023, when Kennedy Japan came face to face with Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. 61%. And I must tell you that since Edu Boahen, Bawumia is the only candidate to have first attempted the MPP flag bearer race. Got that number. It's the highest so far, right? It's the highest. Nobody has been able to get that high number. But in fact, Saturday, we'll ask a very simple question. Would he be able to hold this number constant, reduce it, or add more weight? And in terms of Kennedy Japan, right, he polled 37%. And almost all the polls we've looked at, even if the average is putting around some 38%, that is very close to the actual number he had in 2023. So what we are going to do further is to use some statistical models to see the variance between what they got and where the polls expect them to be. I think that will tell us the variability story and help us to model the volatility in some of these predictions we are seeing so far. But in terms of the other two, you can agree with me that it was a 2-horse race between Bawumia and Kennedy Japan. But this time around, there is something unique where we are introducing a new element here at Joy News Research we call the combined third force. In 2023, if you add that of Efri Akoto and a Dynimo's final score, it wasn't even able to reach about 2% of the entire vote. But this time around, polls are telling you that there is a certain third force in the person of Dr. Bryan a champion. The aggregator or the averager is telling you that he is going to be around some 5% or about 6%, right? That in itself is a big threat to the cakes of either Dr. Bawumia or Kennedy Japan. In fact, we've seen Global Info Analytics saying that the movement is between Kennedy, Japan, but we never know what will happen on the D-Day. A lot to be happening. But in terms of the third force analysis, what we can confirm is that now there's what we call combined third force. So if you add what, Bryan Acheampong is likely to get, what, Dr. Yao Seiduchum is able to get, because his percentage is also very, very significant. And even Kwabena J. Japan, engineer, his percentage is also very important because he, according to the poll, is able to poll about 1%. Very, very significant. If you add all of them, that is a significant number, close to about 8% of the total number of delegates. If you add that to the undecided, that's about 16% already who possibly could change the outcome of the election.
And that could make a very big difference.
A difference between the two candidates.
Okay.
It's either Bawumia possibly maintains, increase or decrease, or maybe you ask a very simple question, what happens to the numbers of Kennedy and Japan? But definitely, this is going to be a highly contested election.
Definitely, it's going to be a highly contested elections, and that's Kofi J from our research desk here at Multimedia Group, helping us understand what exactly Saturday is looking like. Kofi, thank you so much. I'm going to go back to Musa and have a few words, but Rosalind, you see what is happening? I'm
looking at the numbers and I'm like, whoa, okay. Well, Saturday is going to be interesting. You know, it's going to be very, very interesting. Most of the delegates who, whenever the polls come up and it doesn't favor, they actually say that things will change that day. So let's see. For those who it's favoring, so far they are saying this is it. This is what we want. This is what we expect. But for those that's not favoring, it's a different story altogether. It looks like the spiritual aspect of it is going to come to play, whether you like it or not. And so at this point, we have to pray. Everybody has to pray. You have to go and consult your gods.
We're not ruling out the prophets and the prophecies yet. But I don't know about Musa, what he believes on that. I mean, he said several times that nothing prophecy can change his scientific research. You still stand by that?
They say the voice of the people is the voice of God. And if the people are telling you by majority that is what they will do, God is speaking the same language.
Interesting, very interesting. But they've responded to some of the things that you've said. I don't know which of them you want to respond.
I mean, with the case of Educhum's poster card that was shared, it was a direct question to me why he's not doing well, according to the poll. And I said, resources are quite important in running a campaign. And you don't have the resources, it tends to kind of strangle you. And the media will have writing the story. So if that has hurt Honorable Educhum, I apologize. It wasn't intended for any malice, and I apologize for that.
Okay. I'll come back to you again.
The last one I want to handle is in statistical modeling. And if my friend here has cared to read about polling report, when you are looking at numbers in polling and statistics, and you exclude certain responses in order to calculate another matrix, you don't always get 100%. You read YouGov report. I'll share you a copy. YouGov, you see 99%, 101%. And they note that summing the numbers may not necessarily equate to 100. This is statistical modeling and polling. So sometimes we don't make such categorical statement as if somebody doesn't know what he's doing.
Okay, so it's a standard, but we'll look at the rest of them. Let me go on Zoom. Evans is also there. He's been saying that Dr. Kennedy, Honorable Kennedy and Japan, is the one that he's hopeful in terms of leading the NPP. Let me find out if he still stands by that or anything has changed. If you can hear me, Evans, good morning. Okay, I think you'll have difficulty with Evans on the other side. But Musa, any other one you want to respond to?
No, I think we just...
Oh, they want to... Okay, Kwashi, you want to say anything?
Well, quickly, for us, as I said, whatever is being projected here is what we know on the grounds. We're clear on that. Now, I want to just address something. I think you put there something about what I said, that the youth age for NPP is 40 years. What I mean actually is that the maximum youth age in NPP is 40 years. Okay. Anybody 40 and below qualifies to be a youth leader in NPP. And so these are all age groups that we can attract. From 15, 16 up to 40 years, we can attract them. It's important I know that. Okay. Now, again, when you interview Prof. Naughty,
Okay, yeah.
You know, Prof. was making a point that, you know, the grassroots are calling for somebody.
For Ken.
Yeah, but you played your own videos here. The young people you saw on the videos, your Independent one, we saw it. And majority of them were rooting for Dr. Bawumia.
How many?
We saw that.
How many people did you play?
Listen to me. We saw the video. Whether they were 10, they were 5, they were 6. Majority of them were for Dr. Bawumia. Let's also note something from what Mussa Dankwa's post. See, the delegates are weighing what people are bringing on board. In 2012, 2014, right? Akufo-Addo was in his, almost 70 years. But these same delegates, young people, voted for him. So let's not underestimate what people look out for. Let's not underestimate their wisdom, regardless of their age. Whether they are 25 years, 21 years, whatever, let's not underestimate it.
Okay, Kwashi, I think you have to go back to CMJ. Yes.
I will come back to you, but let me speak to Evans. Evans, can you hear me?
It's loud and clear.
All right, I'm grateful for your time. We've got 3 days to the main day of you know, one of the biggest things that we're expecting in terms of our politics. But you have also maintained, based on your polls, that Honorable Kennedy is the one that the people want to lead the party. Do you still stand by it? Has anything changed yet?
So I think the last time that I was in your studio, I think I took us through the 3-way survey that we did. So first and foremost, you're running a scientific research.
Absolutely.
I'm not necessarily just focused. So the context of our research is in 2 folds. So the first one was to look at the 2023 primaries. If you look at the 2023 primaries, it was His Excellency Akufo-Addo and Alan from 2008 main general elections coming to Alan and then Bawumia. And then the 2 of them around August during the super delegates in 2023 is when Honorable Kennedy made upon joining the race for the super delegates, and he came in second. So he had August, September, October, and November to prepare for the polls. Now, the context is important because Ghana runs for an executive presidency, which means that the president has almost about 7,000 appointing powers when he is in power. In 2023, His Excellency Nana Dankwa made it very clear who he preferred among the 2 candidates. Knowing that he had that power to appoint, you can imagine where most of these appointees will stand. Now, in 2026, there is a second context beyond the 2023, which is the 2024 general elections laws. The general elections laws that happened in 2024 is a big blow to the new Patriotic Party. It wasn't the 23,000 laws like what His Excellency Nana Dankwa had in 2008. It wasn't a 1 million like that between His Excellency John Mahama and Akufo-Addo. It wasn't a 500,000 like what happened in 2020. It's a 1.6, almost 1.7 million coming from a 500,000, approximately a loss of about 2.2 million loss. So we developed a conceptual model of 5 cycles, where the first cycle is a post-election reassessment. Remember, the delegates are political actors. If you run the polls like you run with a general citizen, you make a big mistake. These are the representatives of the party who are the campaigners for the flag bearer. They represent the party at the polling station, at the electoral area, at the constituency level. They are the council of elders and patrons in the diaspora, at the region and at the national level. So these are political actors who have political memory and history. So nobody should underestimate them, whether they are literate or illiterate. They are people who do understand the political dynamics.
I think we've
remember that
We lost you a bit, but it's okay now.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, please go ahead.
So remember that political parties exist to win power. And the reason why they exist to win power is that the delegates understand what it means to be in opposition because they have political memory. So the first part of our conceptual model is what we call post-election reassessment. So these delegates start to do what we call retrospective evaluation, and they have what we call electability questions. So they ask themselves, at a 1.7 million, almost 1.7 million loss from a 500,000, that's about 2.2 million. Did we choose the right candidate for the 2024?
I think we're still having issues with the connection with Evans Dua, but I would like to say a big thank you to you, Evans, for joining us. I'm sure we're going to do this again before eventually we go on Saturday, but we're listening to him right now. Yeah. He has Honorable Kennedy Japan leading. You have Dr. Bawumia leading.
Mm-hmm. Look, we deal with large numbers of data regularly, constantly, and also measuring every metric on daily basis. So the reactions to delegates from the campaign teams, the responsiveness of some of the messages they carry out, we pick the feedback quickly. So, and also look, political communication is very important. And to communicate well and strategically, you need to understand what the demography means. If you miss that, you are out. So a lot of the problem you have seen is lack of demographic understanding. We're not saying that they can analyze the issues. We are saying that understanding who they are helps you to craft your message appropriately. And then it will help you to know their needs. And whether their needs is for themselves or for others. But clearly, if you bring government jobs out, people with junior high school will not fit. So when you go to meet this person, you must find a message that will resonate with him. That is a problem. So a lot of the people we have, a lot of things we see in this country, people do them without reverting the data that underpins.
Okay. All right. Let me say goodbye to Prof. Prof is on the other side. Prof, so basically what we see happening on Saturday, nothing. If nothing changes, that's what. But moving forward, after that, whoever that takes over that position, you think the person has what it takes to unite the party to face 2028?
Yes. Let me.
Oh, no, I think we've lost Prof to connection. Okay.
Delegates' preference matter most in internal party elections. When you have a candidate with strong grassroots but weak delegate support, it's unlikely the person may win. Also, we should look at campaign organization and regional penetration. If the delegates are concentrated along just a few of the regions or the constituencies, you may not be making headway. So they should look at their penetration in each of the constituencies. It's very important for all of them. They have about 3 days to go. It should penetrate. Yeah. And then we also see that shifts in voter preference over time. For example, the way we see Dr. Brana Chambo coming in, if that happens, and it's in a sustained manner, it could sway the polls to either side. So we should look at that as well. And then we shouldn't discount what happens in the pool. I saw that many of the representatives in-house there are saying that some of the polls are not correct. They shouldn't discount it. What they rather should do is to look at the positives about their candidate, and then they deepen their campaign strategies around it. Polls have margin of errors, and if anybody who collects data in a random manner, it tells the whole story. It doesn't matter whether you collected 10% or 5% or whatever. Once it is random, it tells the story. So they should be careful on some of the utterances that, it is 210,000 people, delegates who are going to vote, and you've just collected 10,000. 10,000 is so huge.
Okay.
If it is collected randomly, it can say the story.
Okay. Okay.
So those are my concluding remarks. And to finally end, I would urge each of the contestants to be very mindful on the jabs.
Okay.
The jabs are becoming too many, and it will be used against them, as they say, in the court of law. So they need to be very mindful. They need to be very mindful. 2028 is just around the corner.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
NDC is watching with an eagle's eye. So whatever they say, they are recording it.
Absolutely.
They need to be careful.
Absolutely.
I wish them well.
Very well. I wish you well too. And thanks a lot for joining us this morning. I'm grateful for your time, Prof.
Welcome.
Great. All right. Before I let you go, what would you also want to say? You want to also tell them that they should be mindful of what they say? Absolutely.
We've heard this before the 2024 elections. Everything was said about our data. But in the end, we were the only one left standing. We should be very careful, and especially, look, we don't do agenda polls. And I'm quite aware that some of them may try you to get agenda polls. We don't do that. And we don't want to mention names who have approached us. We don't do that. So
there have been instances.
Oh, yes. They approach us, and we decline.
In our favor.
We decline it.
Wow.
What matters to us is that on election day, post-election, we will see the last man standing.
Okay, I think I like that for a wrap-up this morning here. We see the last man standing post-election day, and we're just a few days away.
That's a question.
Yeah.
Who would that last one be? And I believe that each candidate has tied or laced up their boots very well for Saturday. So we are waiting for who this last man will be. But then I want to ask Yao here, before you go, so...
Yeah, well, a big thank you to Mussa Dankwa for joining us this morning here on the show as well. But we're not done yet.
We're still here. Yes.
Big men that are sitting and making representations.
Exactly,
individual contenders. Yeah.
The NPP that we see today is very different, and I know that Dr. Yao Osei-Duchum has been saying that he will change the face of the NPP. Now, I want to find out from you in practical terms, what will he do to change the face of the NPP?
Yeah, so from all indications, especially from the professor who was on the line, indicated that we should be mindful of the jabs. Currently, what people within the party are preaching, I know the party is worried with the kind of acrimonious campaign element, what candidates are doing to them. So specifically, those candidates. And the narration has been a face that can unify all of them, especially after the process has ended. And that candidate is solely Dr. Osei-Duchum. For his conduct, proud to his announcement in contesting this process, through to all his campaign engagement, the only candidate who stands before delegates and account for his stewardship whilst he was in government, he has never mentioned anybody's name as part of his engagement with delegates. And that is what the grassroots people are telling the others. Please, we wish you looked at Dr. Osei-Duchum and learned from him how he has conducted himself throughout this process. But he did that on purpose because we know where we stand, the outlook, the reputation of the party is in tatters as we speak. And therefore, you are looking for somebody who can give that energy to the base, rebrand the thinking of the party, unpackage the party to a stand where Ghanaians will be comfortable with and relate to it again. The teaming youth are looking at the NPP. And therefore, you need a cool-headed person
to be able to steer the affairs so that they can also buy into that again.
Thank you, Yao. I'll go to the next Yao, talking about Dr. Bryan Acheampong. I want to find out the first major shift in strategy that he will bring to an Acheampong-led NPP.
First, thank you. The first major shift for the party to vote for Dr. Bryan Acheampong. Look, we can tickle ourselves and laugh. The kind of debt we've accumulated out there. Yeah, I'll talk about acrimony. We've gone beyond acrimony. The NDC and the other opponents, they are watching us destroy ourselves. Like I said earlier, maybe you are listening to me or you're watching me and you've not gifted the New Patriotic Party anything before. Maybe you have always been at the receiving end. You are receiving the goodies, the layers and all that. For once in your life, I will plead with you, vote for Dr. Bryan Acheampong to save this party. For once in your life, we need to save this ship and purpose it for 2028. And this is what he brings on board. Dr. Bryan Acheampong brings a whole lot of experience with respect to politicking. He's a pure grassroots person. He is the person that understands the party, the soul of the party, and the spirit of the party. In the past, when the party went to opposition, he was the one who were paying workers at the party headquarters when they didn't even have a flag bearer. So he understands the ramifications of bringing up a party. We need a party person.
Okay.
And then finally, 2028 election, people tend to play, I don't know what they want to do. 2028 election is not going to be any ordinary election. When the New Patriotic Party fails to honor 2028 or deliver 2028, what it means is that the NDC's fresh candidate would want to go for another 8 years. And that automatically takes us to 2032. By then, maybe I'll be a council of elder member. My brother might be in retirement. Yeah, I might also be retired. So we cannot we cannot gamble.
Okay.
Looking at the kind of debt we put out there.
All right.
Because at the end of the day, the whole populace, the Ghanaian people are going to assess the information we have given them.
Okay.
To judge us on 2028.
Okay, thank you very much.
So let's save this party now.
All right, thank you very much. Now, I come to you, Kweku, and you know what people say. And the biggest question is, how prepared is your candidate to work with institutions and elders of the party that he has criticized in the past?
Let me say, Kennedy and Bawumia has been one of the few people within the political party called the NPP that has always been voice for us. He's spoken his mind. He's told leadership to stand. And so he critiques them because he wants the best for MPP. Listen, Ken is a unifier, somebody that has contested elections over the years, has had 24 years of being a member of parliament for Asin North and then later Asin Central. And if at every given time, he's able to reconcile his people, bring them together, so they rally behind him for any election. You see, he led the reconciliation within the Fomena debacle, where the chairman and then the independent member of parliament, the current deputy speaker of parliament, he brought him back to the party by settling off some debts and then letting him come into the party. And then even after 2023, yes, you check your records.
I was there in Form, and I cannot recall because the only angle was Honorable Kennedy when we went for our last campaign on the platform. So what committee did the party set up to bring the various factions together?
The faction of the former chairman. Listen. Let me speak. I was here when you were making your points. I didn't.
No, but I put that as a reference to something that I know.
That's which if you are not aware of this, then it means you are not.
That cannot be the case.
That is the case. If you go and check
the committee that was set,
my brother,
of which I was a member.
You are not a member of anything. Put yourself out there. Forget yourself.
You can call the member of parliament for Kwara.
And I'm talking about Femina.
Make your point.
Where we had a committee.
Oh, please stop this.
Quickly make your point, please.
What you have to understand is that Kennedy and Bawumia has been out there for the party. He's always spoken in the interest of the party. And then we all signed up to be with the New Patriotic Party. This is the family we have. So the fact that he critiqued somebody, my brother was talking about the fact that Ken mentioned his utterances were the ones that were played by the NDC. All that he said were the actual facts on the ground. The domestic exchange, debt exchange, the NAPCO workers that have not been paid, the e-levy, the betting tax, and all these economic woes. The dollar that went to 17 cities and then it came back to 14, right. And all that were things that really happened. Listen, MPP, if we really want somebody to help us in the coming election in 2028, the best bet for us is Kennedy and Bawumia. Because you bring him, we will change the narrative. The old face will go. And so the NDC will not come back and then with the economic gains come and hit us as a party.
All right.
But then we will change the story.
Okay, Kweku, now I go back to Kweku again. Kweku. So Kweku, you are representing Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. How does he plan to heal, the party, or how does he, let me put it this way, how does he plan to energize the grassroots and also heal the division that is happening in the party after Saturday?
I think it's all clear from all our discussions here.
Kweku, please.
It's clear.
Kweku, can you please go down for me? I just want...
It's clear from our discussions here that Dr. Bawumia is the only candidate who's got clear policy direction and a system that would ensure that the needs of the party base are seen to, i.e. the welfare system, and then the 10 appointment per constituency. Somebody asked of that. When 10 appointments, you mean that we'll have ministers, we'll have deputy ministers, we'll have CEOs, deputy CEOs, MMDCs, all across 10 per constituency. The president has the chance to appoint 7,000 people. He's given 3,000 to the constituencies, 10 per constituency. So that's clear. So Bawumia, all this shows that he's somebody who understands the delegates. But so far, none of them has been able to speak to what the delegates are looking for. Bawumia is the only person. So it's very clear on that. Now let's get something clear. The delegates know in 2024, and I'll repeat it here, they know that they are worried that the utterances of some of our party leaders hit us heavily in 2024.
It didn't hit anybody.
Now,
it was a fact on the ground. It was a fact on the ground. You didn't pay enough.
You made the point.
So, all right.
I'll have my time.
Gentlemen.
When the domestic debt exchange was happening, did you not see it?
One second.
Delegates are watching you. Delegates are watching you. You must show some emotional intelligence.
Gentlemen, can I say something? Gentlemen, please, can I say something? Can I say something? All right, gentlemen. Wait, Kwashi, hold on. Kweku, please wait. What's happening is that when you were on the floor and Yao came in, I actually told Yao to keep quiet. So it's not fair that when somebody else is making their point, you come in and interject. It's not right. Please and please, let the person make their point. Thank you very much.
Yes, so it's continue that things that people said hit our party heavily. And from all that Bawumia is doing, Bawumia is mindful of the future. He doesn't say things that in future can be used against the party. His utterance has been clean, his focus clear to the point, and the delegates are embracing what he's saying. It's a fact we can't deny it. See, the major shift, again, will be fair reward for fair work under Bawumia. And importantly, not the most important, but importantly, listen, delegates are clear. The NDC will not influence. The NDC will not choose for us who our captain should be. We know that the NDC wants somebody in our party. It won't happen. The NDC will not choose. The NDC wants Kennedy and Bawumia. It won't happen. Delegates are clear on that. The delegates are clear on that.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so
how would you even say that?
NDC
Your candidate has a big
gentlemen,
votes, and then you are telling us,
okay, want the audience very shortly. But then
you should be respecting MPP, right? Not to tell us.
Okay, so gentlemen,
they know it.
What are you saying?
Gentlemen,
this is gibberish.
Our opponents will not pick our captains for us.
Gentlemen,
identify.
It is the NDC that is
Kennedy and Bawumia.
Okay. Should we separate you people?
No, I just identified them. Delegates who have to go. Dr. Bawumia and Honorable
Okay. At this point, I'm seeing 4 people seated here now. From the camp of Dr. Bryan Champong, they are not interjecting. Yeah, you try to interject a bit. No, I actually came in. But the two of you.
I didn't.
What's the problem?
He's the one doing that.
Anyway, we have some messages coming in. If you haven't sent your message yet, please send your message to us. You know what, Shola? Let me go to the audience for now, okay? Let me go to the audience. I'll come back to you pretty shortly, Shola. My audience, you are ready to ask your questions. I know. Please, I don't want us to focus too much on one candidate. We have so many. We have 5 candidates on the ballot paper. So let's try to ask questions, to all the candidates. Thank you very much. Yes. Who wants to go first?
So my first question goes to the camp of Dr. Bawumia.
Okay. Back again.
Over the years, before he came in, he was projected or trumpeted as the economic messiah. But looking at the way things were going, he switched all of a sudden to now being the digital messiah. So he has painted a picture into the minds and the hearts of the people of Ghana, the good people of Ghana, that he is the economic messiah, but no more the economic messiah, but digital messiah. So my question is that how are you going to try to uproot this mindset, this image that you've created in the good people of Ghana? What are the objectives that you are going to really to correct these things? Thank you.
Right, thank you.
Okay. So if in this country, if you remember somewhere in 2022 or 2023, there were a couple of members of parliament of MPP who were calling for the removal of the then finance minister. If they actually believed that Bawumia was a person in charge of the economy, they won't call for the removal of the finance minister. And indeed, I remember in one of his addresses, Bawumia made the point that when they won power, Akufo-Addo gave him the responsibility to ensure that he handled the digital side of the economy, while somebody else handles the main economy. And that's why he went on the drive of digitalization and so on. In any case, you cannot fix economy without a framework, okay? And that's why he went on the drive of digitalization. Now, to answer your point again, currently, right? I made the point that this whole dollar stability is anchored on Bawumia's idea of gold for reserves or gold for gold purchase program, okay? And that started from PMMC when we were there, right? The NDC have only come to rename the gold board. That idea began to yield dividends, began to see results. The dollar went towards 16 point something. And when that was introduced, gradually it began to come down. Until at the point we're living, it was 14 point something. It shows you that he still has the economic stuff on lock, has got many ideas to make sure this country moves forward. He's our best foot forward. Of all the candidates, everybody knows.
All right.
His ideas, his everything, he's our best foot forward.
All right.
We can't allow, and I heard one honorable woman say that, look, we can't allow his brains to rot in the room.
All right, thank you very much.
We shall bring it out.
Yes.
And use it.
Coming to Dr. Bawumia because he has been in office before, but he has been the vice president.
He's a winning person too.
Well, my question would go to the spokesperson for Dr. Iduchum. You were talking about training engineers and medical doctors. After the training, are there going to be job opportunities, or after the training they are going to be unemployed?
So what we need to appreciate, that's why I indicated that we must engineer ourselves out of poverty. Now, just scan around. You get to realize that all the well-paying engineering jobs goes to foreigners. Now, if we really want to attract that foreign direct investment, for example, what goes into Vietnam, then we must begin to change the narrative where the jobs are situated, and that is the engineering space. Now, with the medical aspect, now we seek to propose or establish where we get the opportunity to establish what we term as mobile medical service for Ghanaians. It is unacceptable to move within our localities and see 45 years on the web poster on the wall, call to glory. What is glorious about 45 person going to eternity? The simple understanding should be that the state Ghana should be deliberate about how to ensure that Ghanaians live longer. Make primary health care available to the people. You can't walk to any hospital just for medical checkup, not just because you are sick. And we need to understand your health status. We don't have to wait till the emergency comes before we call the ambulance. The doctors and the nurses within their catchment area will visit you in your houses within every quarter just to do an assessment on your health so that we can have data on you and preserve your life so that you can live long and benefit from your labor. So we must, and we continue to say that we must engineer ourselves out of poverty.
Okay, thank you very much, Yao. Yes, darling. Please give him the mic. Ask and then we go to him.
So first of all, this question goes to all of you. I understand that this is a flag bearership race and everyone is siding with one candidate or the other. Now I want to ask all of you, once we are going to have primaries, which is internal election, definitely there will be conflict among us until we get the flag bearer to represent the party. Then we all come back to rally behind that because we are all chasing one goal. Now, how are the various 5 camps, handling internal conflict to be able to make sure that we don't paint a certain narrative about the whole MPP outside there? That's number 1. Number 2 goes to Mr. Kwashi. A follow-up question. You said Mr. Bawumia was handling the digitalization part of the economy. We were told that he was the economic messiah. He was coming to redeem Ghana. And he was the head of the EMT, the economic management team. So what actually went wrong? Now this is the same person who has been a vice president before, and you are coming again. What are we expecting? You've painted a story already that you are the economic messiah, you are the head of the EMT, and we experienced a mess. How are you going to convince us to know that this time around you are going to do something better? We've seen you you've seen your candidate campaign against your own policies where he was a vice president.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for the question. Yes, I think let's do the round table one, and then we come to you. So let me start with Yao.
First of all, on this round table, if you're looking at what we've been doing, the internal rank on this, there has been an exhibition on this round table. You've seen the characters that has been exhibited by the 2 Kwekus who are representing Kweku Bawumia and Kweku Kennedy. You've seen it. The viewers out there, they've seen it. In fact, I've been around MPP politics for a while. And you cannot say that 1998 were so to our neck like what we see Bawumia and Kennedy's people are doing today. I voted in Legon in 2007. It was heated, but based on issues. But today, what do we see? We saw 2023, and they've elevated the tempo in 2026. It's the reason why Dr. Bryan is into this contest. And let me help you. Amongst the aspirants, he's the youngest but the most efficient amongst them. We are talking about the digital space. I heard my brother tell, what have you done in the digital space? Dr. Bryan, a champion as you speak, was single-handedly solved a Ghanaian problem. In the past, we were doing over-the-counter payment. If you are working in any institution, at the end of the month, you go to the accountant first, the account to pay you. The payment system that is being used today by Ghana is a brainchild by Dr. Bryan, the champion's own company. He did it, and it's not only used
Which of the
by
payment
Ghana.
system?
The controlling accountant general.
Okay.
And today, if you anybody that works to any bank to seek for loan, insurance company, whatever, I'm talking about national problems. The TPRs that he used for your affordability is his brainchild. We are talking about digitization. We are talking about he is a PhD in info analysis. He's way there. But we are not even talking about at the end of the day. Technology, if you want to talk about technology, all the 5 aspirants, nobody come close to Dr. Bryan Example. His systems are not only being used in Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Kenya, and even in South Africa. As a matter of fact, the biggest IT firm owned by a black person in Africa. All the ones in Africa are owned by white people, but the biggest owned by a black person.
Okay.
I want to help our younger people to understand that the generation we are in, we need a doer. Somebody who can do it, not somebody who can talk about it.
Okay. All right.
And you cannot underestimate his value when it even comes to the hospitality industry. Today, Dubai, they are selling oil to invest into hospitality industry. Are you also aware that Dr. Bryan single-handedly is building the longest runway in the world? 5.5 kilometers.
All right, thank you very much.
He is a doer.
All right.
Not a talker.
Thank you very much.
Upon giving up London,
I beg.
The NPP needs his credentials to put out there, not a credential that's already been tainted.
All right, thank you very much. Kweku?
He talked about what we are doing to unite our friends as a party, right?
Yes.
That was what he mentioned,
Yes.
right? To solve internal conflicts and all that. I said it, and then I will repeat it again. What all of us seated here on this table signed up for is a good party, a better party, a party that will find itself in power. All that we're doing here is because, as my folks will say in our palace, it is the seat finding a leader for the party. Once we find a leader for the party, all of us, as a unit, as a family, will come back together. We will knit our differences so that we will stand behind whoever emerges.
So will you apologize to whoever you've offended?
Definitely, we will reach out to everybody because we are going to win. And then we will reach out to each one of them. Bryan Champong, my elder brother, he's a wonderful person, and definitely he's a party man.
All right.
When it comes to Yaweduchum, an educationist by Salah, he's a wonderful person. He will come back and join the fold. Kwabena J. Japon would do the same. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia would also join. It is our family. Okay. Whether you like it or yes, when there is an issue at home where we are looking for a leader who will lead the family, definitely there will be rancors. You would have one or two people speak here or there. But then after the whole thing, definitely we'll reach out to one another and come back as a united front.
Thank you very much. Kweku?
Yeah, my young friend, thank you very much. They say that by their fruits you shall know them. And I think that we all understand the power and the weight of leadership when they speak. And you would agree with me that in all these contests, you haven't heard anything untoward, anything disrespectful from Dr. Bawumia. Normally, when people on Bawumia's side are reacting, they're reacting to something that a leader somewhere has said about Bawumia. What do you expect? That someone calls a leader a liar for no reason, and we sit back and say a clap for you? No, they must defend him. But it hasn't come from Bawumia. And so the person creating divisions is the leader who is speaking this language. Bawumia's nature is every campaign style has shown that he's for unity. He stands for the party intact. Precisely. All right? So by their fruits you shall know them. Now, to your question about Bawumia being the head of EMT, I think first of all we have to understand that the EMT was advisory, in the sense that they advised government on what to do, economics-wise. Now, let's also get something clear. In the scheme of things in our politics, in the scheme of things in our governance, the vice president hasn't got much power. The vice president hasn't got much power. You don't appoint anybody. You don't disappoint anybody. You have no power. It's the president who appoints. Let me give you a scenario. Let me give you this scenario. If in the scheme of things, even the finance minister has power than vice president. Oh yes, I'm telling you. Okay, so if today the vice president calls Atuforsen and says do ABC, and he says, well, I can't do it. What can he do? What can she do? What can she do? She can only do that to the extent she gets the power from her president. Now imagine the scenario that in a meeting, you have Ken Oforiatta, you have everybody, you have Bawumia there, and over a certain policy, Bawumia says, okay, let's go direction A. And Ken says, let's go direction B. And then over the weekend, then Akufo-Addo sees his brother discussing stuff. And then, he says, oh, now idea can't want to me. Also, memory actually be it's all fine. Who did he listen to? I said, brother. You know what I mean? So there were dynamics that made things quite difficult for him to operate.
Okay.
Who would he listen to?
All right. Thank you very much. Yes, you have the floor.
Please, I have the floor.
Fire.
I think what we
just 1 minute, okay, because of time, so that she reads the message. I'm sorry, because they're telling me to go, but you haven't said anything. If you don't say it, you can't say anything.
Okay, so I should say it.
Please, in a minute.
Yeah, so with the unity aspect, I think what we need to appreciate is that right from the onset, you are supposed to be mindful of the kind of utterances and engagements that you do. You don't even start it to create the problem and later call for unity. So that is why it is important you look at the candidature of Dr. Yosei Aduchum and how he has conducted himself throughout the process. We have no relationship with jabs, names, callings, etc. Our campaign has been issue-based. We account for our stewardship. And therefore, it becomes very easy for Dr. Yosei Aduchum to call his brothers on board. Now, it will be very difficult for any other to win and call the others. That will be the biggest challenge that as a political party we will be facing.
All right.
But what is important is that you need to look at him as the pivot who can attract the others to also join so that we carry it on. The only surest bet to unity is Dr. Yosei Aduchum.
All right, thank you so much. Shola, so many messages have poured in.
So many messages. Well, they've told us what they want us to hear. But on the 31st, the power really is in our hands. May the best man win.
Yep.
Now, let's get into our comments because people have sent us quite a lot. This one says, good morning. I am DJ from Kumasi. I want to use your platform to caution our dear MPP delegates to be mindful in their choice of voting. A win for Kennedy Japan is a no campaign for the NDC. In 2028, can't we see every NDC member want a win for Kennedy? Why? This one says that Nana Boateng from the Central region. Okay, it says Dr. Bawumia will lead NPP into victory in 2028. I have no doubts that my fellow MPP delegates will vote overwhelmingly for His Excellency Dr. Bawumia to lead the NPP to victory in 2028. Dr. Bawumia has been tried, tested, and proven to be the most competent and credible candidate to win the 2028 election. Okay, now this is from Meshach. He also says that there is no doubt that Kwabena Eje-Agyapong is the best among all the 5 candidates, followed by Dr. Yosei Aduchum, but they will end up getting the least votes after the election because MPP now rewards liars, propagandists, and individuals with violent attitudes. Whether Ken or Dr. Bawumia, the value is the same because we have a lot to say about any of them, especially Dr. Bawumia, when it comes to the economic issues. The end of NPP political party will begin on Saturday after the election. The 2028 election will be so simple and easy for the NDC because the words from both Kennedy Japan and Dr. Bawumia has already won the election in advance for the NDC. Now, this one says, good morning, Rosalind, and your panel members. I'm from the polling station, or I'm an executive. My advice goes to our presidential aspirants. All that we want is unity. We want the police station executives are discerning concentrates on us to stop lambasting each other. We saw what happened in 2024, internal wrangling, asking party supporters not to vote for Bawumia and turn around and say Bawumia is the best because of our defeat, creating unnecessary falsehood and everything. So I think this one is just really asking for unity at the end of the day. Now, this one says that Kwabena, all the 5 NPP presidential aspirants are inexpert or unqualified to come and lead the country. Ghanaians have witnessed the positive impact of John Dramani Mahama administration. Special greetings to Dr. Edem Sebefia, incoming NDC National Vice Chairman, hopeful. All right, now this one says that, good morning, I'm Sir Vanisha. All right, please ask Kweku Kwashi, why is it that any good thing during the Akufo-Addo and Bawumia government, Bawumia takes the credit, but when there is lapses, because Bawumia, wants to excuse himself. When the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. Didn't Bawumia, who called himself economic messiah, see that in governance, any country can meet crisis? What his rich ideas are doing. I have arrested the dollar and given the keys to IGP. Didn't he, Bawumia, know that as an economist, any natural disaster can happen? Bawumia is not a problem solver and not a results-driven person. Kennedy Ohene Ejapong is the political savior of the NPP and Ghana. Ken is known for jobs, jobs, jobs to resonate the new hopes in the Ghanaian youth. Ken means industrialization and pragmatic leader to activate all regions to grow together. Ken is patriotic, he's honest, and he's a disciplinarian, PhD. Ken Afa. All right, now this one also says that, it's from Musa, he says, we appeal to imams, clergymen, and traditional leaders to pray for the NPP as the party is at a crossroad. History shows that whenever they embark on such exercises, the outcomes are often unfortunate and unpalatable. Prayers and wise counsel are needed at the critical moment. All the candidates have no credibility, therefore it's going to cause 90 exercise. So really there are lots of messages trooping in. Let's take this one. This one is from Alhaji Hamza. He says that, good morning, Rosalind. My problem this morning is that Dr. Bawumia is on record during the 2024 election campaign, and according to him, Ghanaians should vote him to power, and if they refuse, it will take the NPP a very long time before the party will ever come to power. And according to him, he's coming from the north with President Mahama. So in the likelihood Mr. Mahama then wins, then Ghanaians will not be ready to vote for a Northerner again in 2028. So my question to him this morning is, why is he in the race to contest the 2028 elections when he knows he's going to lose the elections in 2028? Because Ghanaians will not be ready to vote for a Northerner in 2028. I need answers. Okay, now this one says, good morning, Rosalind. DMB is winning by 48.7, no doubt. And then finally, this one says, what has Bawumia to say that Ghanaians will believe him? Or he promised he couldn't deliver, and what can he say of his other competitors? He failed. He has questions to answer. Kofi Issa and was the one who sent us that. There are so many messages we cannot read, but yeah.
Here reading the messages. A very big thank you to my guests that joined us and represented their candidates who will be on the ballot paper on Saturday. Now, if you're a delegate, go there and know that your thumb is your power and go and vote wisely. So 30 seconds, I'm starting with you, Yao Yabua. You're representing Dr. Bryan Echampo. 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Yes.
The party just needs a breather. The party needs to breathe. The party needs to live. The party needs to rebrand. The party needs to rebuild. The party needs to recapture power. You can only do that with Dr. Bryan Echampo. Finito. We don't need long talk. We don't need a whole lot. The party where we are. Look, you cannot insult me and call me a madman and tell me that when you win power, you call me, then I'll come and join you. You can't do that.
All right.
It's true. It happened in 2023. We saw it.
Thank you so much, yeah.
We will not repeat it in 2028. Please delegate.
All right. Thank you.
On this note, vote number 2 and save this party. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Kwekwe Duboahin from the camp of Kennedy and Bawumia.
Ghana and our party, NPP, is at a crossroad. A crossroad where we need a leader with character. A leader who would espouse trust, confidence in the teeming youth out there, that people would see him as somebody that is ready to solve the problems and challenges Ghana is facing today. Creating jobs. You need a job to make you a better person in your family. Even if you are not working, your family doesn't even respect you. But this is a leader who has done it all. He's achieved it.
All right.
And so he's going to make it work.
Thank you very much. Kweku Kwashi from the camp of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
Yes, dear delegates, I think we're all aware how Bawumia has his party at heart. We're all aware his policies to make your life better as a delegate, to listen to you with humility. We're all aware of that. And so we know that on 31st January, you'll go there and cast your vote for Dr. Bawumia. He's promised 10 appointments per constituency, laudable, he embraced it. So go there and give it to him to make sure that happens. He's also the person who has unity of the party at heart. It's important you consider it and then vote for him. Vote number 3 on the ballots. Edamase, Medamase, Mendayeshi, Akpanami.
Thank you very much, Yao Pukumensa from the camp of Yao Educhum.
Yeah, once in every man and nation comes the moment to decide. So the political party called the NPP do have the finest of opportunity to make history. And we as party members do have that opportunity to vote for Dr. Yossi Aduchum, who has proven to you that he's a generational thinker, a proven reformer, and a destiny changer. We can all have that opportunity for these young medical doctors and engineers to come from our homes. It is our duty and our call to duty to save the NPP by uniting our fold, by electing Dr. Yossi Aduchum, who sits at number 4 on the ballot, the sole unifier who has demonstrated that he has the ability to bring everybody on board. That is the message I have for you. I know 31st, you do us the honors by saving this party, by voting for Dr. Yossi Aduchum, number 4 on the ballot. And the NPP will win 2028 elections. Inshallah.
Thank you so much. And that will be it. Thank you so much, my audience. You have been amazing. Thank you for asking all the intelligent questions. We are grateful. Next time we call on you, please come again, okay? And also, if you're out there, make sure you grab your granola bar from Nutri Snacks. For me, I love granola bars. When I first tasted this granola bar, I was like, woo! Good, and I've been loving it. So make sure you grab yours today and enjoy it. It's in all shops. It's very, very natural, you know. I don't sugar added to it, or very little sugar. It has oats. It has everything healthy for you. So grab your granola bar today and enjoy it. That's all time will permit us for today's show. My name is Roslyn Felly. I've been doing this with the man K to the M to the J and Shola Adeyemi, and also a very big thank you to the entire production team. They've put this together. It's been amazing. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.